We're live.
Good evening. Today is Thursday, November the 11th. No, 9th. 9th already.
Nice.
Almost the 11th. Yep. Yeah, I got confused on the dates there. Just a disclaimer. Anything you hear on today's stream is not financial advice. It is for entertainment and educational purposes only. And I just want to give thoughts and prayers out to a few acquaintances who lost family members this past week. Just want to let them know that we're thinking about them. So, how are you doing, sir?
I am fresh air exhausted. I've spent the whole week in the woods, and I'll be back out there in the mornings. But it's been fantastic. Little discomfort to build some character with the cold and ice and wind and everything else. So,
yeah, the weather didn't cooperate with you.
No, definitely not. But I always spend the week of my birthday out in the woods, so I'm not going to change it for anything.
No, I wouldn't either. That's something you enjoy. You and a few other gentlemen that you've been hunting with for years. You do this each and every year, so it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah. We're going to go hungry, but hey.
That's all good.
Yeah, we still got the rest of the week.
That's right. Okay, how about we have a pretty good show today. We have a guest coming on, which a developer in the DeFi space. So we should get the market watch on the go here. All right, as usual, I'm going to start off with CoinMarketCap. Or sorry, hold on. Open. All right, here we go.
Oh, is that yours or mine? That's mine. Sorry.
No problem. Okay, so here we are, CoinMarketCap. Start off like usual with the total market cap is sitting at $1.4 trillion currently. 24-hour volume at 95 billion. Bitcoin dominance is at 51.3%, and Ethereum dominance has actually gone up a little bit, 18.2 on news that came out today, which I will go over. This is a little bit surprising. The fear and greed index is still at 74. Last week, 72. It's up a little higher this week. After today's market action, where it had a little bit of a pump and then a pretty sizable dump later on. Thought for sure this was going to lower, but there's still a lot of fear and greed in the market. Let's go over some of the prices. Currently, Bitcoin sitting at 36,673. It did get as high as 38,000 earlier today, if anyone was watching the markets. We have Ethereum at 2,119. Let's see, on the 24-hour, it's up 12% today, which is pretty good. It's a good 17, almost 18% on the week. BNB sitting at $251. It's also had a good week. XRP, 66 cents currently. It's down on the day, but it's had a pretty decent week, almost 10%. Solana, one of my favorites, my redheaded stepchild, $45.23. It is up 12.5% on the week, which is really good. That thing has been climbing steadily every single day. Love to see it. Dogecoin, 7 cents currently, up 8% on the week. Chainlink. Let's see what we got. Chainlink is at $14.58, 32% on the week. That thing has been doing very well the last 3 or 4 weeks. And like I mentioned last week, whenever Chainlink starts to run, the market soon follows, and it seems to be holding true. We got Polygon Matic at 85 cents. Scroll down to one of your favorites, Shiba Inu, 0.0000822. It's up 5% on the week, or almost 5.9%. And then we'll go Avalanche here as well. $12.94, up 9% on the week. Okay, I'm going to go over some DeFi project tokens. I've added one this week, in case you're wondering what that extra one is. Yep. Got Shame on You Furio at 2 cents. It hasn't done squat, as you can see, for the week, for the day as well. Just kind of hovering, not really doing a whole lot. Tectonic, one of our favorites, you and I. It is at 1684. Elephant Money, I'll continue to follow this like I do any DeFi project, as long as they are still paying out and still still live, I guess you could say. And it's at 4573. Switch is the new one that I added. It used to that one they're coming out with their own exchange and a few other things. It's been around quite a long time. It's changed names a couple of times, and it's been holding strong. The reason I added it to my DeFi projects is because I've actually been invested in it for almost a year now, and to be quite honest, I stopped tracking it. It had almost gotten down to zero, and they've made some changes, did some partnerships, and like I said, coming out with an exchange and a swap and a DEX. So we'll see how that works out. But the price has been going up, and it's holding right now at 0.00893. So it's actually up. I know I don't have the 7-day here, but it's actually up about 35% on the week. And I think it was 45 or 50% the last couple of weeks. So I'll keep an eye on that one. Drip still going. It's at 1.4 cents right now. Same with Furio. It's not really doing much. It's kind of going sideways, but they're still around, still paying somewhat. And then Momentum, which has been pretty much stalled at 72 cents, but they are still mining their tokens. Now, I just want to share the Bitcoin chart. Oh, my bad. Like I said, I'm going to show this every week, and there's not really much to see here. It's just a couple of trend lines and support and resistance lines, and you can see ever since the low way down here when we hit that 16,000. It's been on a constant upward trend. And then, of course, today, right now, sitting 36,710, and we did get as high as 38, as mentioned. So that is the crypto market watch. Did you want to go ahead with the traditional markets?
Sure. Crypto market watch is pretty exciting, though, especially seeing Bitcoin today.
Yeah.
Okay, so as for traditional markets, we have the S&P here. I'm using the QQQ, same as I did last week, because it gives a bit more detail over weekends and everything. So, we had a pretty nice rally over the past week. A lot of the top S&P 500 holdings did their earning calls. So Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, Google, and Meta. I don't know if I should. They all had their earning calls, and all of them were really good. So this is Microsoft, where their earnings were up 12.66% and revenues up 3.66% on the quarter. Amazon's earnings, they're up 60.58 on earnings and 1.12 on revenue. Earnings for Apple was up 4.89 and up 0.17 in revenue. Google, they were up 6.17 in earnings percent and revenue 0.97. Meta was up 20.49 in earnings and 1.69 on revenue. So the only disappointment out of them all would have been Tesla's earnings call, where they were down 9.48% on the quarter and down 3.46 on the revenue. So all in all, it was a really good week for traditional markets, and that led to Fed meeting today, where you're seeing the little drop, where we had hawkish Papa Powell, and using his traditional Fed speak to calm the markets so they're not growing too quickly. Just same as before, just prepared to raise rates more to stick to the 2% targets for inflation numbers. But all in all, that doesn't change my view of what's coming in 2024. I think we're going to see cuts, because it's more important not to print money to pay government debt than calm markets. And I think that's it.
It's funny. Did you hear today when Powell was at the podium. I guess there were a few activists that barged into the room, and they were trying to get them out. And he, right on camera, said, "Just close the fucking door."
Yeah, hot mic.
Yeah, I was the same way. I'm like, what? Can he say that on live TV?
But I guess you can't really blame him. It's not really a place for climate activism. The Federal Reserve really doesn't have any say in environmental issues.
No, they had no right being there, and that's exactly right. But I just thought it was kind of funny how he lashed out like that. Mr. Calm, collected, monotone Jerome Powell, and he drops the F-bomb.
Yeah, I'd be the same way.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we can move on to headlines.
Okay.
There's been a lot that has actually gone on this week. I'm sure a lot of people can see just by the markets themselves and the price action and what's been going on. But the stuff that's come in this week so far. Do you remember FTT token? Does everybody remember FTT?
Oh, yeah.
Token? I'm not sure if anyone even holds that still anymore, but apparently Gensler, made a few comments about possibly rebooting it, which kind of blows my mind. But just because of that sentence from Mr. Gensler himself, the chair of the SEC, talking about an exchange that collapsed in the very market that he's trying to destroy, says it's possible that it can be rebooted. So anyway, the token FTT pumped 90% on that announcement. Can you believe it? Unreal.
Nope.
I've never owned it, but after seeing that kind of pump, I wish I had. I wish I still had some that I was holding on to. But
it always shocks me how much news can fluctuate token or market. Yeah. And it's really based on nothing at all, unless he has an upper hand in it somehow.
Well, if we've learned anything from the whole FTX debacle, he definitely had his hand in there somehow.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll hear more about it. Continuing on.
He's the owner.
Okay, let's see. What's that?
He's going to be the new owner while SBF's in jail.
Could you imagine? Okay, 9 trillion asset manager BlackRock registers for an Ethereum trust in Delaware. And then on its heels, they also officially filed for a spot Ethereum ETF with the NASDAQ. That just came down actually about an hour ago. So that would explain the Ethereum pump today. And even when Bitcoin and the rest of the market had a little bit of a dip, Ethereum, it didn't even phase it, and it continued to the upside actually. So that's big news there. In other news, SEC Chair Gary Gensler says FTX crypto exchange could be rebooted under new leadership. Now that's going back to what I said earlier on the pump of 90% for the FTT token. He doesn't go on to say who exactly would the leadership would be. Maybe it is himself, as you alluded to, but he just says under new leadership. That's all he spoke about. Now, continuing on the whole Gensler topic, this guy seems to be a key topic every single week, but the guy, he makes headlines. So what can you do? U.S. Congressman Tom Emmer says that the SEC chair Gary Gensler is ineffective as he is incompetent. No surprise there. I think this is like the fourth congressman that's going directly attacking Gensler. But yet, he hasn't done what they want him to do, and they continue to attack him, but nothing's coming of it. Regulations not coming forth, and they're not doing what he asks. And
his job's supposed to be protecting investors, not hurting investors. And from the government side of things, him making things compliant would bring revenue to the government. It's a new income stream, and he's not doing either.
No, it makes you wonder exactly what it is he's doing, other than, he's got personal vendettas against certain cryptos and certain sectors of the space. But yeah, you're right. He's not really doing anything. He's running around in circles.
Who hurt you, Gary? You used to teach blockchain. Who hurt you?
He was as pro Bitcoin as you could come. Yeah, I remember. All you see the video clips of when he was teaching, and some of the advice he was giving and his opinions are completely different than what they are now.
Oh yeah,
complete 180. Okay, let's continue. U.S. Senator Ted Butt introduces a bill to protect the right to self-custody Bitcoin and crypto. That's huge. If anything, even close to that, could actually come to Congress, that would be amazing, because that's one of the things that Ginsler and a few of the others in Congress are trying to prevent. And this would be amazing if this did come to fruition. HSBC, one of the largest banks in the world, are to launch a digital asset custody service for institutional clients. This is, right on the heels of the whole ETF that is going to be approved soon. So this is just kind of another way in, or another way for institutional clients to buy. So that's bullish as well. I like to hear that.
That'll be a really big thing, because it'll, on the traditional side of things, it'll allow people to escrow their crypto assets and borrow against them, creating good positive debt, right? And that generates more cash flow for other investments elsewhere. And the bank, and it's all secure because the bank's actually holding the custody of those assets. So it's a win-win.
Oh yeah, 100%. And what would be really cool is if something like this goes live at around the same time that a public spot ETF goes live. Then that means Bitcoin could be bought by both the retail investor and the institution. That would be great. Bring on the bull market.
Yeah, and then suddenly the crypto space is FDIC insured. So it's exciting stuff. And I think it'll have a lot more positive effect than negative.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people worry about big asset managers like BlackRock manipulating markets and stuff, but their job's to make their clients money. So I can't see too much downside to them being involved.
No, not at all. I know a lot of people are saying that it wouldn't necessarily be a good thing, but I really think it would be. Now, one other piece of news before we finish up with the highlights or the news for the week is the Canadian government. Now, whenever you start off with a headline that says Canadian government, you never want to finish the sentence. But this one says the Canadian government is going to be releasing the annual fall economic statement. It's coming on November 21st. And they're going to release all the economic plans, the economy stability right now, the state of the economy, housing market, everything, the fiscal year up to date numbers, basically. And I'm actually going to tune into this because I'm curious to hear what they say. You and I, we live in Canada, and we know that the financial situation here is not great. Here in Ontario, I don't know if you noticed. Well, no, you wouldn't have, but I just got my pay stub this week, and unbeknownst to me, taxes went up. I didn't even know they were supposed to go up. Compared to a previous stub a few weeks ago, and the federal tax has gone up, as well as the CPP. For those that don't know, in Canada, we also pay what's called a Canadian pension plan. Every week on your taxes. It's to help when you retire and you get a pension plan. It's not very much, but you get a little bit. So yeah, both of those gone up this week. So it took an additional $8 hit, which isn't very much per week, but I mean that adds up over the year, right?
With that news about the economic projections coming out, there are a lot of rumors that that's when Canada is going to start seeing interest rates go down, because the actual true numbers on where we are, especially in housing and the affordability, are going to come out, and see how much damage has been done to date, because most of these reports are 1-2 months behind when they're making these decisions on rates. So having it up to date really is an eye opener. And they're expecting rate cuts this year in Canada, and I expect rate cuts next year starting in the US. And those paycheck taxes, that's why you hold assets, generate good debt. You never pay taxes on a loan.
Exactly. I'm just going to. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the headlines.
Do you want to call up
Yeah.
our guest? He's here in the waiting room.
Yep. This week we have a guest. He is a developer in the crypto space and the DeFi space in particular. I've known him right around 2 years now. I've worked with him on a couple of projects, and he's definitely one of the best in the space. He's all about honesty and transparency, even though a lot of times, things are out of his control and you can't control everything. That's just the way DeFi works. But he is one of the best in the space. Oxria, how are you?
Hey, glad to be on here, guys. Thank you for having me. It's been quite a while. It's been quite a while since I haven't been on a live. So yeah, thank you for having me.
It's nice to hear your voice again, sir.
Glad to speak to you guys as well.
Yeah.
Well, we brought you on here, and you know what? You have total freedom. I mean, this, you know what this is all about. We talk about crypto, we talk about DeFi, we try to educate, we bring the news, and we just try to be completely transparent. But one thing that a lot of people and a lot of questions we get are, the little peek inside the mind of a dev in the DeFi space. Now, you've been in DeFi for how many years now in the crypto space?
It's been well over 3 years actually. I did start deving in DeFi since about 2 years, but yeah, I started getting into DeFi like 3 years ago in 2020. It's been hell for a ride since then, and honestly, in DeFi, time passes fast. It feels like a whole decade has passed, honestly. And it's been quite a ride. I do see a great potential in DeFi and crypto in general. We have great times upon us. I do believe that we live in like one of the last times where we have enormous opportunities to generate funds, to generate profits, because afterwards it's just going to get more difficult and more difficult and more difficult with these big institutions and the corporations like BlackRock, where they're basically going to occupy everything. And they're going to make it extremely difficult for the average person to to make a living besides having a 9 to 5. So why I got into building in DeFi in first place was just basically to create opportunities for the average people, for people who want to escape the 9 to 5, to have a chance to generate some profit on the side, to get educated on crypto, because I've been doing my best, the best that I can. Crypto crazy. We've been doing hell of a job since I believe it's been well over a year that we first met with you. And for this time, we introduced a lot of people to DeFi and to crypto in general.
Yeah, on the side of introducing people to DeFi and crypto, if someone was out there that was interested in getting into developing, what programming languages would they need to learn to best fit in the space?
Well, if you want to dev, especially on Ethereum, on EVM, you're going to have to learn Solidity. That's what you have to learn. Now, when it comes to Solana, you're going to have to learn Rust. It's a completely distant area for me. I haven't gotten into that yet. I do have friends that are into Rust, but yeah, if you want to do an EVM, if you want to work on EVM, you just have to learn Solidity. And
so everything has its own separate language for their blockchain?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Now, one thing about the DeFi space, Ox, you can either agree or disagree, obviously. But one thing I've learned, it's a fairly new space. I mean, it's still in its infancy. I know it's been around since 2018, and you see, we've been in the space long enough now that when a project comes out, you look up its the way it works and the fundamentals of the project. And as each project comes out, they change something a little bit more and a little bit more and a little more. I guess what I'm trying to say is, with each new project that comes out, people begin to learn what does work and what does not work. Now, my point is, or my comment is, do you believe, as I do, that DeFi is, it's only beginning? It's going to get better. It's going to be perfected. It's like trial and error. And everything we've seen in the past has basically been a learning experience, and that DeFi
Oh,
going
yeah.
forward is going to get much better.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is just the very beginning. I believe that basically the blockchain, and especially let's say DeFi, it gives the financial power back to people, because like especially when you're self-custodial, like when you hold your assets by yourself, when you're responsible, like the power is back in you. You don't need a, like, I hope that in the future you're not gonna need a bank if they make eventually they are going to make crypto payments available everywhere. I hope that's the way to move forward. But yeah, this is just the very beginning, and like we are in super early stages. There is a huge adoption level which is going to come next, I believe, especially with the ETFs coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Is there any like new tech being developed in the space that people could get excited for moving on, that hasn't really kind of hit the ground running yet?
Yeah, something that I'm working on. Actually, you guys know that I created my own very own community, Dogsverse, where we're essentially going to be deving. We're going to be helping people with ideas to realize them, to realize their projects, their protocols. But besides that, my idea is that we create a community where basically we give our community access to on-chain utilities, and it's gonna be something which I cannot mention yet, but it's going to be something which is first to come. Like it's basically going to be new.
I've known that you've been working on something, and I honestly haven't really wanted to pry, only because when you're ready to share it, you'll share it, and I'm actually looking forward to that. It's going to be very interesting. Now, I did want to actually, I wore a special T-shirt today because there are a lot of toxic people in the DeFi space, and you know, there's a saying that if you aren't, what's the saying? If you aren't making money, you're scamming or something like that. But anyway, there's a lot of people in the space that you know, they're the, you know, a bunch of these. And I understand that there's been a lot of projects that have purposely, I don't want to use the word rugged, but it is what it is. They have failed for one reason or another. Now, the ones that you know, it was maliciously on purpose, where they rug, steal the money, and take off. People have lost a lot of money with that happening in the last 2 years, and I can understand their frustration, but they have to start realizing and separating the you know, the good people in the space and the ones that are just there to scam. It really frustrates me when you start trying to explain to someone, you know, the ins and outs or what's going on, set them straight on facts, and they don't want to hear it, and that's very frustrating. So, what I've done lately in the DeFi space, I've separated myself. I no longer get into arguments. I no longer engage with people in the space that I know. It doesn't matter if you tell them that the sky is blue, they're going to argue and say that it's red. The only way to keep your sanity in this space, in crypto in general, is to kind of surround yourself with good people, surround yourself with people that are trying to learn and educate themselves and make the space a better place. Anybody else I don't have time for. So to all those that all they want to do is bitch and argue and complain, well, this is for you. All right, my rant's done.
Well, here's the thing, and it's really funny actually. So the funny part is that basically there's so many developers in the space that there's, like you said, their sole purpose is to rug, to scam, and to find exploits, ways to exploit people that, you know, they're new, for example. And they just create new accounts, like they rug, they create a new account, and it's a recycling. Like they just afterwards they have a huge budget, they invest even more in marketing, they get even more people in. That's the only thing they're doing. And like there is people like me, for instance, that I've been doing my best for the space, like always putting the the best interests of the space before mine even, and I mean that's a fact that everybody can check that. Even with my project, The Mountain, which was an Alvarez fork back in the day, people that didn't ROI, I'm still like every few months, I'm injecting some of my personal funds back to those people so that they can ROI.
Now,
Because the fun is-
anyone listening, I defy you to try to find another developer that will do that. You won't find one. Just saying.
No. And yeah, hats off to you for making that effort, because it's not just the DeFi space, just business in general. Any success in business is built on a mountain of failures. That's how you learn. And a toxic community doesn't help that at all. But honestly, I see Ox being a big deal in this space over the next few years, because he has the proper mental state to be able to work through this, learn, grow, and develop new things like he was just talking about. And it's going to change the space, the crypto space in general, for the good. And it will push out the bad actors down the road. And yeah, he's an overall asset to the community. And I want to thank you for that, Ox.
Yeah, and thank you as well. And here's the thing. Again, like I mentioned earlier, we're super early in this. And me personally, I've had my learning curve. I've done my series of projects. I've tried this, I've tried that. I see what's working and what's not. I've been looking at what other dev teams are doing. I've been paying attention. And certainly the direction that I'm in personally right now is one where we provide on-chain utilities aside from big profits. Because what other people are aiming for right now, and especially with this curve of these trading projects, just like Wolf Capital, where we had Trav blowing up the portfolio, these trading projects where bots generate this profit for the month and for the year and so on, even if the project lasts that one. It's the direction in DeFi, it's not that. The direction DeFi is for on-chain utilities where you can have rock-solid utilities that you can provide to your community that are going to be generating actual profits, which can then be distributed back to, let's say, shareholders, for example, or token holders. That's the way to go. It's not through trading bots. And take this from me. No matter how good an algorithm is, no matter how good a trading bot is, eventually it's gonna have a failing point.
Yeah,
that's why when I've been pushed the last couple of months into doing a bot project where basically bots trade with forex and with crypto and this and that, and I've put my own funds. I lost here, I lost there, and it's better that I lose my own money instead of putting investors saying, hey, let's do this project, you're gonna earn, let's say, 0.5% per day, and then everybody getting wrecked, and then saying, oh, this time it's a new Ox, like we lost our money because of you. And you filled your back with our taxes, like basically from the taxes of the project. That's not the way to go. And unfortunately, the majority of the devs in the space, that's how they're looking at things. Like they're looking at the space and the investors in a sense where they can just bag from them and not actually give them something worth of value, like something that they can actually profit from on the long run. And that they're gonna even learn more beside you, like how does this thing work? How can we improve it? And that's the way to go. That's the way to go, I believe.
I wanted to mention as well, that's another thing that separates you from a lot of the other devs in the space, is when your previous project failed, Wolf Capital, a lot of other devs, if that happened to them, they would have just, quickly wrote up some code and started a new project without blinking an eye, knowing full well that it would probably end up failing again. But the whole reason the dev would do it is just to make a few more bucks in their pocket. But that separates you from the rest, is you didn't do that. You put your head down, you You basically locked yourself in a room, even went away. I'm not going to say where or when, but you went away and just focused on something new, something different, something innovative, and that's what you've done. And that is exactly why the space needs more developers like you.
Yeah, and for me, Ox just mentioned something that has actually interested me greatly since I've pretty much educated myself in the space. Yeah, you got a lot of DeFi projects that are offering like really high unsustainable yields to gain interest and popularity and develop the space. And I'm a firm believer that 80% of the space is good, honest people, regardless of how they act when they're upset or anything else. But yeah, like this, what's happening now, what you were saying, isn't really a sustainable model. And the thing that interested me was how close are we to being in a space where you can tokenize like a physical property and actually gain a yield off of appreciation of an asset in like a real world asset, instead of just playing with tokens and trading and having unnecessary risk in the space.
Yeah, completely. Now, basically, speaking by for the programming side, it can be done even right now. Now, it all comes down to the regulation and how it can be done, like depending on the jurisdiction, like in which country it is. But like with the code side, with the code base side, it can be done right now. Like I even had this idea back in April, I believe. I told Trav when we were running Wolf Capital, let's do a separate part of Wolf Capital where we basically do Wolf Capital properties, where we can create a fund and basically invest the fund in properties, in real estate in the Arab Emirates and rent it out. There's even firms out there where they manage the properties. They tax, let's say, 20%, and then they they clean the properties. They take care of everything essentially. So the idea was that we rent them out, take the profits, and distribute them to all the holders in the pool, to all the stakers, right? And this is completely real world driven, like no Ponzi, not taking from Joe and paying to George, right? So it can be realized. I really like that idea. I really like that direction. It just depends on the regulation side and how it can be done on that end. And for that, you really need good blockchain lawyers, especially if it has to be in the US. I believe it is possible to do it in the US, but you really need good blockchain lawyers which can essentially solve everything on the legal side.
Yeah, because that would be a big game changer in sense that let's say housing is becoming so far out of reach of the working class. Like every year, it's inflated more and more and more, and to be able to invest in real estate and realize the gains from that would be a positive, and it would also really contribute to providing affordable housing and combating the inflation around the world. Like, so
exactly.
That's a place where it could, actually change the world for the better.
Exactly, and it comes right back around to what I first mentioned, that it's gonna give the opportunity to normal people to invest, because and here's the thing. I am always trying to explain to, let's say, friends who work a 9-to-5 that it's super important to invest. It's super important to invest. You're never going to be able to escape the 9-to-5 life if you're not investing. Because eventually, if you invest over time with all the compounding and everything, you're going to be able to live off your dividends and be able to start your own business. while covering your living expenses with the dividends that you're getting from your investments, and that's the way to go.
Yeah.
And basically, by doing this, by bringing real world profits on chain, it's just gonna be huge. It's really gonna be huge. Like I said, I believe that it's on-chain utilities, real world value brought on-chain. That's the way to go. And even, let's say, even for what I was thinking for my country here in Bulgaria, it will be super transparent if the voting system can be done on-chain, because I believe that the elections here in Bulgaria are rigged. And I'm not gonna say anything like for any other specific European countries, but I believe they're rigged as well, because it's super easy to rig the system. And with, let's say, for example, if the elections are done on the blockchain, and everybody can view the votes live and nobody can manipulate them because it's a smart contract, which is immutable, for instance, nobody can cheat.
No.
Why don't they do
and
it?
nobody can alter the result after as well. Like Bulgaria and the other European countries, they're not the only place that this happens. I mean, it's no
I think
secret.
it's a concern everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's no secret that it happens in the U.S., especially the last election, and in Canada. Like I'll be a monkey's uncle if Mr. Dictator got voted in legit. There's no way that man got enough votes to get. I don't care, even if it was a minority government. I don't care. It did not happen. They were altered, and you're right, Ox. Doing elections and voting results on the blockchain, immutable, can't be tampered with, and the results will be accurate, 100% accurate.
Yeah, and you can view all the votes live. You can view them in real time, and it's gonna be on there forever. Like you can go back in time, let's say 50 years from now, and check all the transactions, all the votes, what exactly occurred, what happened, what was the voting activity. Everything is gonna be on there forever.
Yeah.
So I believe, like, when it comes down to elections, when it comes down to voting, the future is on the blockchain as well. The blockchain has just so many utilities that are solving real problems, real world problems, and I truly believe that the future is just alongside the blockchain.
Yep, the blockchain is the future. That's for sure. Okay, I want you to stick around. We are going to skip the spotlight, I guess, Mr. Glenn, or do you have something for spotlight? Or
Yeah,
do you
I
want
was
to go right
just
into the
about to
roundtable?
say the same thing. Let's skip the spotlight in the roundtable. We have Juan here again, and we also have another guest there, Black Cat Syndicate, but he's not going to be able to be added to the roundtable unless he allows access to his microphone. And he's got a bit of a warning popping up on my side here, but if he enables his mic, if he enables his mic, I'll be able to bring him in. I'm not ignoring him.
Okay, bring up Mr. Juan. I do have a question that I'm going to pose to all the roundtable participants. Juan, how are you, sir?
Doing great, guys. Nice to see you. Hey, Ox. Nice to see you on the space.
Glad to see you around as well.
Okay, my question to you guys, Mr. Dip, you as well. You can all answer separately. I'll start with Juan, and then we can go to Ox, and then Glenn, you can go last. Okay, my question is, throughout this bear market, which I believe we have all been here since the beginning, Juan, what is your biggest takeaway from the bear market in a positive and a negative light?
On the positive side, I think that people still believe in the crypto market. Even when there was bearish, you still saw people buying. You still saw great peaks, highs. So that's always exciting to see, that nobody just said, like you would see like an altcoin, where everybody kind of just says, you know what, I'm giving up. I'm going to throw it up. I'm just going to sell everything. And for the most part, the positivity of that the bear market will turn around, no matter how bad Bitcoin went. I think at one point it was like around 15, right? people were still buying and still knowing that it was gonna jump and make that jump. So that's always a good thing to see. On the bad side, for me, I think that as a small player in the space, I just feel that there's still a lot of manipulations going on in the background. Things that you don't really would see in the stock market as much as because I guess because the way the structure is in regulation. And I think that we need to accept that there needs to be a level of regulation in the space, um, but just not over regulation, so we can thrive. And I think that the faster we can get to that point, the quicker we can accept that crypto is going to be a part of everybody's life. And on top of that, can be a great utility. Ox just made a great point how we can utilize crypto for voting, but we're not going to do that. It's too accessible to people that may not vote the way they want them to vote. I hope that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, they may end up not having a choice, though. I mean, if regulators or Congress get their heads together and realize that it's for the best, that may end up being what happens, but we'll see.
Let me just throw in some numbers for you from my country, just so that you guys are aware what I'm talking about. Over 60% of the population of Bulgaria does not go to vote. Over 60% because they believe that the voting system is rigged. Besides the fact that Bulgaria is a part of the European Union, where, for example, let's say if your country is in the European Union, things should be transparent and democratic, right? Over 60% of the population in our country does not go to vote. That's just mind-blowing.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
That can completely change an election result, obviously. That's more than half the population. Yeah. Okay, Ox, your turn. What's your takeaway, both bullish and bearish from the bear market?
First off, I gotta say I'm always bullish. Even when people were, a lot of people were just disappearing in the space, I was still here, and I'm still gonna be here for the time being. As long as I'm alive, I'm always gonna be on chain. So I just want to remind everybody something very important. Yeah, be bullish, but when the time comes, and you're gonna know it, just take your profits, because there's so many friends that on the last run they didn't take profits. They thought that this was gonna go on forever. Like what goes up must come down, and usually there is a few signals that I'm looking for. When everybody starts for example, let's say if you go to the supermarket and the cashier there knows that you're in crypto and asks you, should I buy Bitcoin, and it's like at the top, then you know that you gotta bag your profits. Then you know that you gotta bag your profits. You know what I mean? So this is just like a small thing that I'm looking for, and I am holding my bag, like my long hold with my favorite tokens, and definitely I'm super bullish. I've been accumulating all these times for the past 2 years. Yeah, definitely bag your profits when the time comes.
That's great advice. It's funny, one of my favorite YouTubers, I'm sure I can say his name, the Crypto Zombie, he had a funny saying. He said, once his grandmother starts asking him if it's a good idea to buy crypto, it's time to take profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mr. Glenn, how about you?
I think I'll follow suit with Juan and say that one of the highlights that I seen during this bear market was the amount of retail investors that held strong with complete trust that the market would return. I do believe if it wasn't for bad actors like FTX collapsing, we probably wouldn't have seen much more than a 50% dip in this previous bear market. I think that was the catalyst that drove it down to the 80. Regardless, a lot of people would argue that that's just what it does, but yeah, wallets held, and it really shouldn't have dipped where it dipped.
And it didn't stay long down there, so.
No, and yeah, you look at the financial situation worldwide, where we have had our crypto bear market, and you look at 2023, Bitcoin's one of the top performing assets in the world. Like,
The
well,
top performing asset.
you know, hey, you got your Solana. That did a bit better. But yeah, if you would have bought Bitcoin in January and had to hedge against the inflation and the turmoil that people are experiencing now, you're up 130% on your investment. It was, I think the lowest on the exchange I was looking at was 15.6, and then what did it get up to today?
38,030.
Yeah. And the traditional side of things didn't mention it one bit all year.
No.
Like, it shows that there's strength in the space. It is the future when it comes to assets. And and we're going to slowly bleed out the bad actors. And that will probably end up being through regulation.
Yeah, well, regulation and once people become a little bit more wise to the scammers and to the bad actors, they'll stop investing, and those people will slowly have no reason to be in the space anymore, no reason to create scammy projects and stuff like that. So for me, the positives in the bear market was all of the development that went on, all the technology, with ChatGPT, the AI bots that are out now. Just the growth, actually, I'll use that word, the growth in crypto is one of the biggest bullish things for me. Even though we were in the depths of a bear market, a lot of companies and different projects were still, making partnerships. They were coming out with, like, for example, Solana. I know I like to mention Solana a lot. It is my favorite crypto, but, they came out with their own cell phone and their own, all the partnerships with Google and Microsoft, and they've never stopped developing, as well as many others. They're not the only ones. And then you have Arbitrum, which was a new layer 2 that came onto the scene, and there was constant development. The negative, or the bearish part of the market for me, is I didn't get to accumulate enough. The bear market didn't last long enough. I'll be honest. Like, I knew it was coming to an end. You get to that point where the DeFi space became dead. There was nobody around. A lot of influencers or people in the space that have been around for a long time disappeared. They took a lot of time off, or the Telegram channels got quiet, Discord got quiet. There wasn't much going on in Meta or Facebook or whatever, and Instagram. Videos that I would put out or post, that used to get 250 likes or views or whatever, got down to 20, 25, 30. So you kind of knew that the bottom of the bear was there, and it was boring and it was dead. But the problem for me is that I knew it, but I didn't have the funds to accumulate more. So that's my only negative about the bear market, is I didn't quite accumulate enough. But back to your point, Ox, you're right. This by accumulating and dollar cost averaging into your favorite cryptos, knowing what's going to be coming in the next 2 years, it's exciting at the same time, but it was a little bit nerve-wracking down in the bottom of the bear, not going to lie. But now that we are kind of pulling out of it and it looks like the bull is around the corner, it's very exciting times.
It is, but what I do believe is that before we continue to go up, there is going to be a scoop downwards, a shake off, if you want to call it that way, to shake off all the paper hands, basically, before we continue to go up. So there is going to be a movement down before we continue to go up. And something which is truly amazing to me, just think about how many challenges we in the crypto space have overcome in the past year and a half. This year alone, $3.3 billion worth of crypto is just scammed, like it's been stolen, right? So not sure how much of that went off chain, but that alone is a huge number, 3.3 billion. And compared to last year, which is 1.1 billion, we had the FTX crash, we had so many stuff with the SEC. And
Don't forget
there's
Terra
gonna
Luna.
be many. Yeah, that too. There's gonna be so many challenges ahead as well. But one thing for sure is that all of them are gonna be overcome. We're gonna overcome all these challenges, and I truly do see crazy upward momentum in the 1 year span from now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to agree with you there about the dip, because we have gone up a lot, and I showed my chart earlier. It's been upwards momentum ever since January, so we are definitely going to have a correction. We're due. But okay, another fire rapid question. We only have a couple of minutes left in the stream. Juan, I'll start with you. What is it that you are looking forward to? Obviously, besides the obvious, what are you looking forward to most in the upcoming bull market?
To be honest, when I thought about it last week during our last conversation, um, one of the things that I would love to see happen during the bull market is an acceptance level of what's happening with crypto. I think that crypto can do so many great things. I've seen it. And I just don't think that there's enough backing from people who matter to make it happen. And that's what I want, that, for it to reach a level where it just can't be ignored anymore. And that's what I would like to see coming up.
I truly believe that the people you are referring to, obviously not individuals, but that group, I think they are involved. They just aren't coming out of the closet, so to speak, quite yet. But they're around, they're involved, and I think they're actually invested, if you ask my personal opinion. But it's kind of like one of those things. They're waiting in the background to make sure that it is accepted and that it's socially responsible to say that you are invested in the space. But I think they're there. They're involved for sure.
Yeah, but we can't have this situation like COVID where people had it, or vaccine, or no vaccine, and people admitting that they took it but didn't really take it, and vice versa. This can't be crypto. It just can't. It just affects too many people in a real positive way.
Yeah.
And I think that those people, somebody needs to take charge and put that bullseye on their chest and move forward.
Let me, I agree. Glenn, let me ask you a question. What percentage of the world population do you think is invested in traditional stocks currently? Just a ballpark number, percentage.
Oh, I think it's surprisingly low. I would say 5%.
5% of the world has exposure in traditional market stocks?
I think I wouldn't say 5% of the world. I would say
I meant globally.
Probably 5 to 10% of every country. You have that demographic that would have the exposure, and you have the rest of the population working hourly jobs and not realizing how fiat currency actually works.
Okay. Well, the point that I was going to make is crypto adoption into the crypto market in the last peak of the last bull market, I believe, was still under 5%. So could you imagine in this bull market and subsequent bull markets, we'll say after this one, even if we grab another 4 or 5% of a global population that is, have adopted crypto, that is huge when it comes to the entire crypto market cap. And also, along with that, as more people get involved and are adopting the crypto and blockchain technology, more innovations that are going to come out, more technologies that are going to be invented that coincide with blockchain. I mean, it's endless, the possibilities. And that's what I'm really, really excited for. Obviously, earn profits, make a little money, get financial freedom is the goal. But I'm also really excited to see how the space develops and evolves.
Me too. Okay, I got one question before we're at our hour here. We're on the doorsteps of seeing the euphoria in the crypto scene again. And I think all of us here seen the last bull run and a lot of the craziness that happened. With the experience in the roundtable right now, what do you think would be your best advice to new people coming into the space to prevent the bad actors from showing up to make that quick buck with the upcoming euphoric stage?
I
Let's
would
start with
personally
Ox.
recommend something, and that's to join the Oxverse community, and also to watch every week. You guys every week, Glenn and Crypto Crazy, so that they can be updated and so that they can be educated. That's what I would recommend to any newcomer.
Appreciate that.
Personally.
Appreciate that. Juan, what about you?
First, for anybody who's going to be on Telegram, if somebody messages you, ignore it. It's a scam. Every crypto that comes out has, especially the altcoins and projects, always have a Telegram, and everybody joins it. And then next thing you know, you're getting bombarded with messages. And those people who are kind, who really do want to help, unfortunately pay the price. And I think that's the first lesson I think that everybody should learn. Avoid those messages. Try to build relationships with people in the space so that you can be educated and protect yourself. And decide where your financial situation is. I think that's the most important. If you feel that $100 is not important to you, go at it. If it's 1,000, go at it. Do not mortgage your family's valuables in the bull market. I think that's where people get really upset because the guy. It's going to happen. You're not going to always be 100% winners, right? So I think that once you've got those two things locked down, for the most part, you'll survive the bull market. And I second what Ox said.
Okay.
Yeah, and for me, and then I want to hear from Crazy.
Okay.
I seen a lot of token projects that just got released, and it was quick money grab, dump. And I think my best advice for people is realize that chasing huge gains, the percentage of gain that you're going to receive directly correlates with the amount of risk you're taking in that project. So if you were looking for 100% gains in a week, you're got that extra 100% risk in losing your money when it's all said and done. And then I guess, Crazy, what's your opinion on?
I have 3 suggestions. I'm not going to say it's advice, but suggestions. One, as Juan and Ox alluded to, educate yourself in the different socials. Find people that are like-minded, trustworthy individuals, ones that want to help others, that seem to have a lot of knowledge on the space. Align yourself with those people. Make sure you ride along with good people in the space. Number 2, stay away from DeFi projects. I say this, with a little bit of a grain of salt on my shoulders, because I've been in the space for a long time, for a few years. And Glenn and I, we both alluded last week that we've won some and we've lost some, and at the end of the day, even with our knowledge of the space, we still broke even. So my suggestion would be keep your money. Don't invest in DeFi projects that offer 1, 2, 2.5, especially the higher ones per day. They're all just, I don't want to say pump and dumps. Sure, the owners may have good intentions, but at the end of the day, the project's going to fail and you're most likely going to lose money. Save your money. Number 3, buy your blue chips. We have a bull market around the corner. Do your research, listen to our show, understand which cryptos are actually building and are going to be around in the next bull market and the bull market to come and the bull market after that, and invest in those and then hold. Do not invest anything you cannot afford to lose. So if you have money that you think you'll invest now and then a month from now you'll take profits from it to pay this bill or to pay that. No. If you're going to need that money at all at any point of time, do not invest with it. Only invest with money that once you invest, you consider it gone, as if you never had it, and then sit on it, because with the bull market around the corner, that is what's going to pay off. So those are my suggestions, not financial advice.
And
I just want to
suggest
add
something as well. Okay,
Oh.
go ahead before me.
Yeah, when Crazy was saying stay away from DeFi projects, I think he meant to say stay away from high risk DeFi projects, because DeFi, in my opinion, is going to be a game changer in the space once you can connect it to real world utility and get rid of people chasing moons.
No, I meant DeFi projects. Like, for right now, until this next bull cycle comes and is completed, and DeFi, matures a little bit.
You're talking right now.
Yes, I'm talking right now.
Okay.
There is
I'm
not a
talking
single
technology.
project. There is not a single DeFi project that is out right now, and I'm including all of those, prop accounts, bot type projects or accounts. No, I am telling you, your money is much better, well off spent to invest it in some blue chips, in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and the metaverse or gaming tokens. Don't waste your money on DeFi right now. There is nothing that is going to pay you out on DeFi currently. Now, I'm hoping that Ox can change this with some upcoming projects. Hint, hint, plug, plug. And I hope you come to us first when your project finally launches and you're ready to spill the beans. But until then, no DeFi.
We accidentally cut Ox off there. He was about to say something, so I'd like to give the floor back to him, and then if he wants to include where he can be contacted if anybody has any interest in developing a project in the space or is curious on what's going on in his world, he can plug how to get a hold of himself again. And then I guess go on to closing thoughts with Juan and Ox, and then call her for till next week.
Well, what I wanted to suggest is, because obviously a lot of people are gonna start aping, and they're already aping in meme tokens right now. There's a lot of newcomers to meme tokens.
Yeah.
What I want to suggest, and what has been historically profitable for me personally, is, let's say if you have $1,000 to put in a meme token, don't put it in one meme token. Let's say pick out 5 or 6 or 7 meme tokens that you like the team behind the token, the project, and just diversify in these 6-7 tokens. Don't just ape into one of them, because eventually, let's say even if 4 of them fail, 3 of them are gonna continue, they're gonna pump, and then you're gonna be profitable. You're gonna make up for your losses from the four tokens that fell down, that completely went to zero, let's say, and then you're also going to make profits from the ones that pumped. So historically, that has been profitable personally for me. So always diversify your risk when you're going into these meme tokens, especially when you do accumulate profits from them, because the profits from meme tokens can be insane. I mean, we also, what happened with Shiba Inu, with a $5,000 investment in Shiba Inu, I've made $90K with a $5,000 investment. I mean, that's insane.
God damn.
That's why I love sheep.
Yeah. And I mean, always don't forget to take the profits from the meme tokens, because eventually they're gonna go down. You all saw like what happened now with Grok, for example. I personally believe it's probably the next Pepe, but we're all gonna see.
Yeah.
There's a huge up movement for the meme tokens right now. Now, before we touch, I believe it's already been over an hour, yeah. But I did want to mention something else, which is quite frustrating, I believe. And you guys might have saw it. I've shared it on the group earlier. It's about the Unmasking the Truth. This guy that was the former Ethereum advisor, Steven Nerayov, or I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Yeah. So this guy potentially has information. He has evidence of basically the founders of Ethereum doing malicious stuff, and potentially he's going to reveal all of this information in a few weeks. I want to see what you guys think about this, because to me personally, it's quite concerning.
Yeah, I've always had a feeling that Vitalik wasn't. He's a brilliant mind, but he's never been a strong enough person to control what he's created. And I think some demons have got in the gates, and there's some stuff happening that is not good, and it might lead to ownership of Ethereum going a different way down the road.
That's what I was going to say. I don't believe Ethereum will collapse, because it's the number 2 crypto in the world in the crypto industry. And if it were to collapse, let's say, an FTT or a Terra Luna situation, that's going to be a drop in the bucket compared to what would happen if Ethereum blew up. So I think you're right. I think if there's any wrongdoing found, they will just transfer the day-to-day operations to someone else, and they'll probably, keep a lot of the really bad stuff under wraps, keep it hush hush, because that could be something that could cripple the market.
I think there's also an opportunity there to, manipulate the profits, right? Because now, this guy's gonna tell his friends, and he's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna announce it this day, and then you're gonna see a bunch of shorts put in, right? And those people will always win, and who knows if the story was true or not. It's kind of like when Elon Musk speaks, and I think it's irresponsible. Either you have the information, you release it, or you stay quiet until you're ready to release it.
Yeah, I agree with you, because at the same time this information's coming out, there's also a lot of little articles coming out about the possibility of an ETH ETF, which I personally don't see ETH meeting the criteria for an ETF in the US. I know we have one here in Canada, but
really the only criteria that's required, of course, from the SEC standpoint, is whether or not it's a security. And every time Gensler is asked,
there's no decision on that. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no decision is a decision. I mean, no answer is an answer. By him not answering, saying yes or no, then it's not, because he has no problem saying, before the SEC lawsuit with XRP or with Ripple, he had no problem saying, yeah, XRP is a security. Or, when he brought however many, the SafeMoon and a few others, yeah, they're securities. But when it comes to Ethereum, he's not giving a straight answer. So by him not giving an answer, that's an answer.
Yeah, but I think it's still back. Like, you're hearing about Bitcoin ETFs in 2019. I think that's how far out you are now when it comes to Ethereum at this point.
Yeah. So you don't believe the rumors that an ETF for Ethereum will be approved right after a Bitcoin ETF?
I believe compared to the profits that you can make, it's very cheap to put out a news article to push an agenda in your direction.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Watch markets react accordingly.
Yeah, you can't believe everything that you read. I understand that, but I guess we'll have to see. Time will tell.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you guys want to stay on here while I end the stream, and we'll see everybody next week at the same time. And please take the time to like and subscribe. It'll help us out and get us in a position where we can give back to the community. And good night, everyone.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good week. See you next week.